So far on this channel, we've looked at the multinational land force units established in the Baltics, as well as introduced you to the basics of the Baltic Air Police mission. And so we thought it would be nice to now go over the maritime domain and look at some of NATO's multinational operations on the water, the Alliance's maritime standing groups. Let's get started. As explained by a Spanish Ministry of Defense webpage, NATO has standing naval forces that provide the alliance with a continuous naval presence. These multinational deterrent forces carry out a program of scheduled exercises, maneuvers, and port visits, and can be rapidly deployed in times of crisis or tension. And so there are 4 groups comprising NATO's standing naval forces. There's SNMG1 and 2, standing naval maritime groups, and SNMG1 and 2, standing NATO mine countermeasures groups. All 4 groups were integrated into the NATO Response Force, or NRF, which was the Alliance's Rapid Reaction Force until 2024. This has since been replaced by the Allied Reaction Force structure, something we touch on in our mini-documentary discussing Alliance Readiness. The first type of group, surface action groups, are standing NATO maritime groups which are multinational, integrated maritime forces made up of vessels from various allied countries. These vessels are assigned to NATO to perform different tasks, ranging from exercises to operational missions, while also helping to establish alliance presence, demonstrate solidarity, conduct routine diplomatic visits to different countries, support partner engagement, and provide a variety of maritime military capabilities to ongoing missions. The 2 maritime groups, SNMG1 and SNMG2, function according to the operational needs of the alliance, and their composition varies. However, it's said that they are usually composed of between 2 and 6 ships, with each ship potentially coming from a different NATO member country. A Bundeswehr webpage adds that groups usually consist of several destroyers and frigates, as well as a supply ship. These groups fall under the authority of Allied Marine Command, or MARCOM, located in Northwood in the United Kingdom. MARCOM also has 3 subordinate commands: Submarine Command, or COMSUB-NATO, Surface Command, or COMSURF-NATO, and Maritime Air Command, or COMMAR-Air. Also within MARCOM is the NATO Shipping Center, which plays an important role in countering piracy. In peacetime, SNMG1 operates primarily in the North Atlantic, North Sea, and Baltic Sea, but can immediately move to other crisis areas if necessary. This maritime group, the oldest of its kind in NATO, was founded in 1967 as Standing Naval Force Atlantic. It was then renamed in 2005. SNMG2 usually operates in the Mediterranean, but again may also head for other sea areas immediately if necessary. The formation was formed in 1992 as Standing Naval Force Mediterranean, but renamed in 2005. Moving on to the Standing NATO Mine Countermeasures Groups, SNMCMG1 and SNMCMG2, these are multinational forces that primarily engage in search and explosive ordnance disposal operations. This also includes removing ammunition from past wars and conflicts. The Bundeswehr explains that each group is usually made up of several mine countermeasures vessels and a command and supply ship from various NATO partners, one which is apparently always provided by Germany. SNMCMG1 operates in northern European waters, especially in the waters of the English Channel, the North Sea, and the Baltic Sea. The regional focus of Mine Countermeasures Group 2 is the Mediterranean. Just like the standing maritime groups, the MCM groups can also deploy to other regions if required. Mine Countermeasures Group 1, formed in the Belgian port of Ostend, was established in 1973 as Standing Naval Force Channel, but given its current name in 2005. Its original purpose was to ensure safety of navigation around the ports of the English Channel and Northwest Europe. Mine Countermeasures Group 2 is the youngest NATO naval task group and was activated in 1999, again receiving its current designation as SNMCMG2 in 2005. NATO maritime groups change on 2 primary schedules. Command leadership rotates annually, while participating ships and individual deployments rotate every 6 months or so. We do have to note, however, that Spain's website about these groups says that its contribution has ships deploying for 8 months. It's our understanding that ships operate on staggered independent schedules rather than all rotating in or out at the same time. This makes sense, allowing for some sense of continuity with every ship change. And while it will definitely make our video dated, we'll list the exact ships assigned to each group at this very moment in time. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to keep watching. We explained earlier in this video that NATO has reorganized its force model, with changes coming into effect around 2025. And while the Ministries of Defense of Germany and Spain have outdated information on their websites and continue to discuss the standing naval forces within the context of the old NATO response force, we thought this 2022 Bundeswehr graphic provided a good general idea of how the alliance has structured its maritime response in the past. You can see that the 4 standing naval groups were categorized as high readiness forces. Submarines, maritime patrol aircraft, and an amphibious task group made up the initial follow-on forces group, while more of those same types of forces comprised the follow-on forces group. Since you can see 3 levels of response, we're guessing that it's probably quite a similar structure under the new NATO force model, which is based on tiers 1, 2, and 3. And so, as we mentioned earlier in the video, here are the current ships assigned to each group as of mid/late 2026. We should note that this is what's listed on the NATO Maritime Command website, and so it could already be out of date. Nonetheless, it gives you an idea of the types of ships that may form each group. And so SNMG1 had Commodore Marilla Ingham of the UK's Royal Navy as its commander. She took over from a Spanish Rear Admiral. The group included the following vessels: the frigate FGS Sachsen, or F219 of Germany as flagship, HNLMS Van Amstel, F831, and Den Helder, A834 of the Netherlands, HNOMS Fridtjof Nansen, or F310 of Norway, BNS Leopold I, or F930 of Belgium, and TCG Oruçreis, or F245 of Turkey. SNMG2 is or was commanded by Commodore Georgios Kypriotis of Greece's Hellenic Navy, who took over from an Italian Rear Admiral. The group's flagship is Greece's HS Kontordiotis, F462, and is supported by France's FS Gyprat, F714, and the Italian Navy's ITS Raimondo Montecuccoli, or P432. Moving to the mine countermeasures groups, SNMCMG1 is said to be headed by Commander Donatas Gierczas of the Lithuanian Navy, who took over from a Polish Navy commander. While we don't want to go too far back, we can see that the Polish commander had taken over from a Latvian commander, so it looks like this group definitely has a Baltic focus in terms of leadership. The group's flagship is/was LNS Jotvingus, or N42, and is supported by Poland's ORP Mewa 623. And so, if this NATO webpage is to be trusted, this group apparently consists of just 2 vessels. However, we can see from the Netherlands Ministry of Defense that the Dutch ship HNLMS Schiedam joined the group in February 2026, while German minesweeper Fulda joined the group in January. NATO's social media accounts show that Estonia's ENS Organdi and France's FS Thetis are or were also part of the group as of June 2026. And then commanding SNMCMG2 is Captain Dimitrios Karamotsoyannis of the Hellenic Navy, who took over from an Italian captain. The group's flagship is HS Kontordiotis, or F462, which is supported by the Italian Navy's ITS Chioggia, or M5560, and the Royal Dutch Navy's HNLMS Willemstad, or M864. Naturally, by the time you watch this, things may have changed, but you can see just how small some groups can be and how large others can get. But, well, there's your rough overview of the standing naval groups that comprise NATO's high readiness maritime forces. What do you think of these standing naval groups and their activities and roles? Let us know by leaving a comment.